Yeah. Huh? Hey, I'm tryna win. I'm tryna win in the 716 and I'm making it big. I wanna live. I think I'm ready to try.
Welcome back to another episode of Let's Talk About It with Ty. We have a lot to cover, so let's get started. First topic we're going to talk about is Boston Celtics versus Dallas Mavs. Last time we saw each other, I think I touched on Game 3, so Game 4, we not even going to touch. It was atrocious for the Celtics. I think it was really for them to get back in TD Garden. Game 5, we all know what happens. Celtics smacked Mavs, and they win the finals. Let's break down some of the stuff that happens. Jaylen Brown wins MVP behind series averages of 20.8 points, 5.4 rebounds, and 5 assists, while also consistently guarding Luka Don. Luka Don, you know, he does his average triple-double. To be honest, I don't think he gets a triple-double in Game 5. He doesn't get a triple-double in Game 5. He gets 28, 12, and I believe 5. Kyrie struggled in Game 5, but I think he was struggling the whole series with Boston this time around. The backcourt to the Mavs, they didn't really come in to do what they normally do. PJ had 4 points. Gafford had 6 points. Lively only had 2. I mean, that's not a strong finish to Game 5, especially in an elimination game. KP comes back in from his rare injury. I think he only has 5 points, but still, like, his presence was needed. Tatum goes off. He has 30 points. So Boston just really came in and shut it down, and I kind of figured that's what they wanted to do anyway. They wanted to win in TD Garden and in front of their fans in home court. And so with this game-winning series, Boston solidifies them being a first seed. All the haters, like, you know, all year round said they couldn't get it done, especially with Jason and Jaylen being a tandem. They didn't believe they was a true number 1 seed because, you know, the East kind of lacks a lot of competition compared to the West. Joe Mazzulla, he solidifies himself as a coach. He is the 7th winning African-American head coach to win a finals. And that's really big because, you know, there's not a lot of representation of black head coaches on the big stages. So, yeah, we're gonna talk about how Jason Tatum basically has a stellar night and he gets robbed of MVP. Jason Tatum is the first Celtics with 20 points, 10 assists, 5 rebounds in a finals game since Larry Bird in 1986. He surpasses Kobe Bryant for the most career playoff points at the age 27 or younger, and is the first player to lead his team in points, rebounds, and assists while winning the NBA Finals, but he doesn't win the MVP. Some say he's robbed. Others believed Jaylen Brown was the true winner just because of how he showed up for the entire series. Me personally, I feel like he was robbed because normally the person that has the biggest impact in the game wins the MVP. But that doesn't take away how great of a player Jason Tatum is. And also, I don't want to discredit Jaylen Brown because Jaylen Brown did put on one hell of a series. He's guarding Luka Don damn near the whole series, and his defense was impeccable. His points. So I just don't want to take away from the Jaylen Brown winning MVP. I do like that in the speech he said he couldn't do it without his right-hand man, Jason Tatum. So I'm really excited that Boston got this done and solidified their season. They won 62 regular season games. It was in the postseason they only had 16-3, 3 losses. So it solidifies them moving forward. Now the only thing that I don't like is that they win it on on the same day that the Celtics won their last championship in 2008. Now, the reason why that's really big for me is because they do it against my Kobe. And I very much remember that series. And a little known history fact. That series where Boston beats the Lakers is actually the first time I knew I wanted to do sports analysis because of Kobe, like that series. So it's just monumental for me, and I always rave about that that matchup between the Lakers and the Big Three and the Boston Celtics. Like, so that game actually, that series in 2008 starts the whole reason why and how Let's Talk About It with Ty comes to be. So continuing on the Lakers note, we got to talk about J.J. Reddick. J.J. Reddick becomes the new head coach for the Los Angeles Lakers. A little bit about Jason Reddick. I said this on a previous episode. He has 15 years in the NBA as a shooting guard. He goes to school after his career, business, analysis, and he has a podcast with LeBron called Mind the Pod. And yeah, so I feel like this is very like a full circle moment for him. He's always kind of wanted this. I just saw a clip when J.J. Reddick was on an interview with Taylor Rooks, and she asks him, what would make you a good coach? And he says it's not necessarily one thing he feels like he feels like he knows the game very well due to his various coaches that he played for. One in particular is Coach K. For the viewers that don't know, Coach K was the coach for Duke, and he was there from 1980 to, I believe, 2022. He's also was the coach for Redeem Team. If you guys don't know that, then I need you to go check out Netflix because that's a real good series about the Olympic team that involved Carmelo, D. Wade, Kobe, and they got LeBron, and they win the gold for the U.S. But back to J.J. Reddick. Got a little tangent off with Coach K because, he's just got so much history to him. But Coach K, taught J.J. Reddick adaptability. And you need that in playing sports because the game is forever changing. He also talks about one of his skills being communication. You need to be open and transparent in both being a player and, into other teammates, into your coach. So he also said in that interview that he saw coaching as a way to help and that he really wanted to do it. So it's like I said, it's like a full circle. It's like he manifested this, and it just so happens that now he's coaching LeBron. And they're like the same age, like a little bit months apart. But Mind the Pod, that's about to be a total different field because now it's from a standpoint of coach to player. It's no longer player and player, but it's coach to player. Also, I think the Lakers were pushing to get J.J. Reddick because they wanted to keep LeBron as a Laker. And they wanted to find a coach that LeBron had complete trust with, that worked well with LeBron and, you know, has a vision for how he wants to see the Lakers moving forward. And like I said, I think J.J. Reddick, it's a big task, but I feel like you wanted to do this, you was made for this, so now you got to rise to the occasion and try to get another championship back home with the Lakers, because even though, like, I did root for the Celtics, I kind of want to see another Celtics-Lakers finals again just to see who going to take it home. So, continue with coaching. Let's talk about Monty Williams. Monty Williams got fired from the Detroit Pistons after inking a 6-year deal for $78.5 million. They cut him after the first season. So now they owe him about $65 million. I think that's kind of a win. That org hasn't been really good since early 2000s to me. 2004, they win the championship against the Lakers. And if anybody knows that 2004 team, you got Sheed Wallace, you got Ben Wallace, you got Tyshawn Prince, you got Chauncey Billups, and you got Richard Hamilton as they start in 5, and they're called the best 5 alive. And that was like a real defensive team at that time. And then after that, the Pistons had a really good winning season, 05 to 06. But then after that, the Pistons haven't been good. So I believe, like, yeah, you got fired, Monty, but shoot, you walking away with $65 million. And then looking at what Monty did with the Suns, like, I just don't think that the Pistons really took into consideration that you can't change a org or a team in a year. It takes more than 1 year to get it done. Like I said, I was watching some of the Pistons games throughout this season, and it wasn't like they were bad, but they just always came up short. So I don't really fault Monty Williams. Like, that's not a Monty Williams problem. I feel like that's more of a higher-up GM problem because, like, what are you trying to build? Who are you building it around? Like, those are the questions you need to ask yourself when building a team. You can't just blame it on a coach because you had another losing season. Shit, you've had a losing season for a long time. That's not like something new. And like I said, with Monty Williams, he was the Phoenix Suns coach. But prior to coming there, and his tenure at the Phoenix Suns, he was there 4 seasons. He had a 194 to 115 record. The Suns reached the finals in the second season. Won a franchise record with 64 games in the third. That sounds like a good coach to me. I feel like you just didn't give him enough time to actually develop with the team. And also give him a year where he gets to help pick, teammates to build around. Like I said, you can't compare your Pistons team to the Phoenix Suns team that he had. His Phoenix Suns team, he had Book, Ayton, KD. Chris Paul was on that team? No, he might have been. Or it might have been later. But anyway, you can't their starting five to your starting five is not the same. So you can't blame Monty Williams for not having a successful season. He wasn't going to be able to turn around like that in one season. So, yeah, Monty, you got that chicken. You got $65 million walking away. You ain't gotta worry. That the Pistons got bigger fish to fry than just trying to blame it on a coach. Keeping it on a basketball theme, let's switch it up from the boys. Now let's go to the girls, because a lot of things was happening in the girl world. Chicago Sky versus Indiana Fever. I was about to say Indiana Pacers, and that's the boy team. Woo, Indiana Fever game. That was the most watched WNBA game on the network in 23 years. 2.25 million average viewers, up to 225% higher than last year's comparable game between the Phoenix Mercury and the New York Liberty. The game peaked nearly around 3 million viewers. It was the most streamed game ever, and we all know why. Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark. It gave you that LSU Iowa feel again. And if you go back to the NCAA tourney, that game broke the record for the most viewership again. So I feel like it's really that matchup. We love seeing Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark doing their thing. Speaking of it, what was their night? Caitlin Clark had 23, 8 and 6. No, 8 and 9. Angel Reese had 11, 13 and 8. Them girls go toe to toe and they give you a good show. They very much do. And speaking of Angel Reese, girl, I just talked about you last week, and you gonna go off again? You're gonna go off again. You have 7 consecutive double-doubles. You become the first rookie in the WNBA to do that. Like, you are on an amazing run. And you just do it in your own way, your own fashion. And it's just amazing to see, like, how much your game from college translates well with the WNBA. Like, you don't miss a step. And like I said before, I think on last week's episode, like, you one of them ones in the making too. Like, I was a fan of your game in college. So you got to keep developing, keep getting better, but that's going to come with time. But you are really on an amazing run for yourself. And don't let what other people are saying outside of the game deter, like, what you got going on, because clearly the stats is showing. You, like I said, you just broke a rookie stat. Like, no one's ever done that. Let's take to the West Coast for the girl basketball, and let's talk about the LA Sparks. It's actually a sad day for them. Cameron Brink will be out for the remainder of the season due to a torn ACL. And just thinking about how much she contributed to the game already, I'm just going to go over her stats from this year so far. She had 7.5 points. She had 5.3 rebounds. She had 1.7 assists, 1.1 steals. And the season started in May. So I could just imagine how it would have ended for her. So I just pray that you have a speedy recovery. You go through what you need to go through, and you get back on that court and you attack, because you was really on your way to have a good season as well. But your teammate, Dereka Hamby. She gonna put that team on the back for you. She gonna put the team on the back. And we got to touch on how she been playing. She's one of the 4 women to average a double-double this season. She leads the Sparks in points, rebounds, and assists per game. And she has 11 double-double games in, I think, in a span of 15 games, the last 15. Like, I know she go miss her her teammate, but she definitely gonna put on for you because this is impressive. And like I said before, I hope you have a speedy recovery. You get back on the court and you attack. Use the second overall pick, and I know they picked you for a reason. So can't wait to see you come back and get to doing what you do best. Another matchup I need to talk about is the Phoenix Mercury and New York Liberty. Man, oh man. Whew. Tuesday's game was one for the books. Phoenix snapped the Liberty's 8-game winning streak with a 99-93 victory. And in that game, there was a combined 33 three-pointers, the most in a game in WNBA history. That's amazing. That's really amazing. I keep trying to tell the people, like, women's basketball, they play physical, and they play physical since the start of it all. So, like, me just highlighting what's happening, like, this been happening. Like, these girls been like this. It's just that y'all are, like, now catching up to it. And it's just amazing to see that them hit these milestones, you know. It's just so amazing to see. And, like, another milestone that was just hit for women's sports was the Las Vegas Aces. They just had a sold-out home game season. And that's the first time in history that's ever done. So I'm just loving these wins for the girls. Like, no matter the team, like, I'm just really loving the wins that these girls are getting because you guys deserve it. You know, me growing up, I used to watch the LA Sparks. I used to call them Lady Sparks, to be honest. When I was a kid, I'm like, yeah, let me watch the Lady Sparks. They used to come on after the Lakers games. So I used to watch Lisa Leslie all the time. I believe they used to come on TNT, actually. I think that was the network they used to come on, if I'm mistaken. But, like, just from seeing them play so physical, like I said, like, this game that they've been playing, this is nothing new. Like, this is really just how they've been playing. Like, they play to a physicality. And, like, I'm just so astonished of how much they're flourishing, like how much the WNBA is flourishing in the right direction. Like, through expansion, through having the viewership, through breaking season records. Like, it's just us fans, like, we're getting, like, some of the greatest basketball with the girls. And, you know, I can't wait to see how much more that you guys break together as a unit and individually as yourselves, like, with your org. So I'm very excited about this moving forward. Let's switch it up. No more basketball. Let's get into baseball, because there's definitely some things in baseball that happen. One of them being the passing of Willie Mays. Willie Mays, if you guys don't know, he has a rich history in the baseball history. He was nicknamed the Say Hey Kid for his youth exuberant style of play and habit of greeting people with the phrase, say hey. He's considered a five-tool player. In baseball, a tool player has great skill in the basic skills. Hitting for average, hitting for power, base running and speed, throwing and fielding. Willie Mays began his career in the Negro League, playing for Birmingham Black Barons in 1948. He was promoted to MLB in 1951 with the New York Giants. They're now called the San Francisco Giants, but back then they were called the New York Giants. He had a 23-year career in MLB as a center fielder. Let's list the accomplishments he had in his 23-year tenure. He had 24. He was a 24-time All-Star, a 2-time MVP, a 12-time Gold Glove, a 4-time home run leader, a 4-time stole base leader. He was a world champ in 1954. He won a Roberto Clemente Award in 1971. He is on both the All-Century and All-Time team. He was elected in the Baseball Hall of Fame his first year of eligibility in 1979. Both teams that he played for, which I said earlier, the New York Giants and the New York Mets, if I didn't mention that, retired his number 24 in honor of his amazing contribution to the sport of baseball. Willie Mays, rest in eternal peace, knowing that you changed the game for little boys that look just like you, on and off the field. You are forever cemented in baseball history as one of the greatest players of all time. Speaking on baseball still, I got to talk about my Yanks. For those of you that don't know, I'm very much a Yankees fan. Derek Jeter was my favorite player, to be honest. And the other day, the Yankees became the first team to win 50 games in a season at Fenway Field. If anybody knows baseball, you should know how much the Yankees and the Red Sox are enemies. Fenway Field is where the Red Sox play. We beat y'all 8-1. Okay? 8-1. And I was laughing right when we did it. 'Cause ain't nothing like being a Yank. But I mean, you guys got us in the next game because we lost, but we ain't gonna count that. We gonna count that we got our 50th win in y'all field with y'all old players on our team. So I'm just saying, we gonna see y'all again in the Subway Series. We gonna see y'all again. So count on it. Actually, I want to actually go to one of those games to think about it, just because I want to see the type of rivalry in person. But best believe, Yankees, we got to finish strong. We can't let these Red Sox get to talking crazy, because us Yankee fans got a little bit of a loose screw, just a little bit. Let's switch into some boxing. I'm really excited about this topic, because if anybody knows me, then you guys, outside of what I do, then you guys know that I actually wanted to be a boxer growing up. I wanted to be just like Layla Ali. And so Oh my God, I'm starting to get chills even thinking about talking about this. This is so exciting for me. Because it's my first time talking about boxing on a show. So the one thing that you're taught in boxing when you first start boxing is your stance and to guard your face. And what I mean by guard your face is that you're taught to put your hands up like this, like to guard your face. And stance meaning so that, you know, you're able to like have power in your head. Like if you stand 1 foot in like ahead and 1 foot behind, you kind of don't have good balance, and you're gonna not throw from you're not gonna throw with power. You're gonna throw like you're gonna swing like that. But if you have like your foot off to the side, in like a 45, you're gonna throw with power. Now the reason why I'm saying this is because I think that's the reason why Frank Martin here gets defeated in the 8th round against Tank. He's on the ropes. That's a disadvantage in itself, being on the ropes. Like, reason why I say that is because when you're on the ropes, your back's here, and you gotta move side to side, trying to keep. It's all defense. You gotta move side to side. You gotta keep your arms up, and you gotta try to get out because you don't have no advantage. You look right, you look left, you're on the ropes. You can't move. So Tank has an advantage on Frank Martin, and like I said before, knowing in boxing, you know how to hit somebody to let them arms down. And that's what Tank did. Tank very much hit body. Body, for those of you who don't know, body is on your sides. You're going to hit the body. He hit the body. He tagged him a couple times. Frank dropped his arms and let his face be exposed. And Tank does what he does best. As soon as you drop them hands, you drop them arms. He came in for that knockout. He came in with that 1-2 with that left. And anybody that knows Tank got a mean left hook. He got a mean left hook. And like I said before, like them body shots to drop, you gotta, that was just a disadvantage in itself. But the reason why that too, it just all reminds me of when I watched the episode of Wallow and Gilly, and he had both Tank and Frank on there. And Tank says, you stuck your head out a little too soon. And Frank didn't get what he was saying at that time. And me being a fan of boxing, but also have boxed, Tank was telling him, like, your skill isn't there yet to fight me. And in that moment, just him being on the ropes the way he was, like, I mean, you could kind of tell, like, his skill wasn't all the way there. Because, like, the one thing, you know, when you box is to get out. Like, you got to get out of that, you being on the ropes. I mean, it wasn't like Tank was dinging him so bad that he had to stay on the ropes. You know, you could have slid out. So it's just like little things like that. Like Tank was telling him, like, you know, you stuck your head out a little too soon. You should have waited to fight me until you had a little bit more preparation underneath your belt. And, you know, I laugh because another part that he says that really is like my go-to funny thing is he said, I'm going to hit you so hard that he going to feel it. And he definitely do. He knock him out. If you see that picture of when Tank gets that connection right here, his whole face shift. And, you know, so, I mean, I don't bet against Tank just because Tank is very much a skilled fighter. Like, he's very much a skilled fighter. And, again, the reason why I say the whole thing about preparation with that sometimes is because I think Frank Martin has how many fights is he less than Tank? I think he about, I think he's about like four or five fights like less than Tank. And see, the thing why I say that whole skill thing pops back up is because most boxers, I'm gonna go off Tank's resume. Tank normally does like 2 fights a year, one in the first quarter of the year, and then one in the first half of the year, and then the other in the second half. So think about it. If you are a couple fights away from having like around similar records, that means that's a couple years difference. That's a couple years like of preparation that you're missing compared to your opponent. So I very much was always in agreement with Tank when it came to like, you stuck your head out a little too soon. Whoever like gassed you to think that you could fight me right now and that you was ready to fight me, you should have looked at, you should have just like looked at like, yeah, maybe I wasn't ready. But, I also, wanna think about it in a way of Frank ain't no sore loser. I'm gonna say it, put it to you like that. Frank ain't no sore loser. Like I seen his IG and he took his loss, to the chin, and he ain't go out like no sucker. Like he didn't complain about it. He he lost. It was a fair loss. So, I think Gervonta, is aiming to fight in November, from what I was reading up on his next fight. So I kind of can't wait for that. Because like I don't know, I like the way Tank boxes. Like he just, for some reason, he definitely reminds me a little bit of Floyd, even though I know they're kind of like at odds right now. But he definitely reminds me of Floyd just a little bit. But yeah, that was a really good fight. But I kind of knew that that shit talking was gonna catch up to Frank a little bit, just because Tank a whole different beast. Like he prepares a whole different way. He's just, he's just an amazing fighter, and he's gonna continue some good success in this league. He's actually like a really good fighter to watch. Another fighter that I want to talk about is Ryan Garcia. Ryan Garcia just got suspended for a year. Little background on the reason why Ryan got suspended for those of you that don't watch boxing like I watch boxing. Ryan Garcia defeated Haney by a majority decision. A couple days later, it was found that he had aspirin in both his A and B samples. For those of you who don't know, aspirin is considered a PED, a performance enhancement drug. He said it was his supplements. He said they was contaminated. I guess the board did their findings, did their reviews, and they suspended him for a year. With that suspension, he has to forfeit $1 million to Golden Boy Promotions, along with a $10,000 fine. And with that, the fight that happened between Garcia and Haney is officially changed to no contest, which means Haney will return back to 31-0 record, and Garcia will be 24-1. I don't know if I'm in agreement with that, because I just feel like if his supplements was contaminated, like, how is that his fault? Number one. And I think the overall thing to it, too, that I must not be really in agreement with it is just how the days transpired into the suspension happening. Haney basically was going to give up boxing until he was able to fight him again and get to see if, he was going to win. But if you watch this fight, again, you definitely see Ryan hit Haney so hard, he fall down like 3 times in that fight. And just me personally, I don't think this changes how the fight's gonna go. Like, I don't know if, I just don't think he had enough performance-enhancing drug in it that would have produced what you saw in that fight. There's no offense to Haney, because I definitely like the way Haney fights too, but I just feel like, everybody wants this spotless record. And this really has to do with Floyd Money May, because he has 50-0. So now every boxer wants to have a number and an O next to it. Like, it's okay to lose. Like, if you lose on a good note or a good footing, like, it's okay. Like, and the reason why I say that is because some of the greatest boxers of all time lost. Muhammad Ali lost a couple times. Do we not say he's not the greatest boxer of all time? Mike Tyson loses to Holyfield 3 times. 3. And bit his damn ear off. But we don't take away Mike's greatness. And that's where what I'm having a tough time with boxing and boxers, because just because you lose a fight doesn't mean you're not a great boxer. It's just that you lost this match. And I think, like I said, like, this spotless record thing that all the boxers want, like, it may not be in the cards for you to have. And it's okay. It's okay. We still gonna think you're a good fighter. I mean, that's the same thing with Manny Pacquiao. Like, Manny Pacquiao lost to Floyd. And we don't say, oh, Manny Pacquiao is shitty because he lost. No, he's still a great fighter, So yeah, I just think, like, the notion behind having, like, a spotless record in boxing, that's got to stop. Like, because, it may not be in your cards to be spotless. You might got to take a few losses. And in your losses, you learn lessons. And I just feel like, we can't go out like a sore loser because you lost or whatever. But I mean, I understand, as a retired athlete, like, you rather it be fair and square. But I just think watching that fight over again, I just don't think that things would have been different. Like, I seen Haney look at the, when he fell, he looked like he got the shit knocked out of him. Like, I just don't think that reaction was because of some peds, I just don't think that was because of peds. But that doesn't take away that he's not a good fighter. I just don't think that the outcome would have been different. Let the whole peds that Ryan took change what was going to happen. But I definitely want to see a rematch when Ryan can come back, if he wants to come back. I definitely want to see the rematch just because, I'm for the shit talking. I like when people shit talk and back that shit up and get back in there and do what you're going to do. But, there are fighters like Wilder who, changed their diet and changed their regimen and still went back out there and lost to the same person. So I'm not, and I'm not taking away the fights for him, but I'm just saying, like, if we gonna do a rematch, do it right. And make sure them supplements not contaminated, so to see if the fight was gonna be what it was gonna be. me as a fan, I think it would have still went the way it went, but that's another day. Moving forward, let's talk about NFL and these contracts. Whew. Sunshine got paid. For those of you that don't know, Sunshine is Trevor Lawrence. That's the nickname that he got. And if those of you that don't know who Sunshine is, I need you to watch Remember the Titans, because you got to learn some history behind that name. Okay, so Sunshine has signed a 5-year, $270 million extension with $142 million fully guaranteed. A lot of people don't believe that he's deserving of this type of contract. Personally, me, he's a quarterback. A quarterback is always going to have a high, a big contract. He's the quarterback, and looking at his numbers, they're not bad. So, let's talk about the numbers before I even say what I'm going to say. Yardage, he had 4,018 yards. He had 21 tutties. He had 14 interceptions, but his QB was 56.1. So he's at the halfway mark. Anybody that know Trevor Lawrence, he's always been considered a generational talent since high school. So, like I said, I just feel like with those numbers and him being a quarterback, like he was gonna get a big contract, and his org believes in him. Like, he wasn't bad. Like, he hasn't been bad. It's just that, do you guys ever take in consideration that these orgs be a reason why people be having like shitty outcomes in like the big stage? Check Trevor Lawrence's numbers when he was at Clemson. They weren't bad, And like I said, it ain't like he don't got an arm. It ain't like he's not like an all-around player. Like, I just feel like, he's deserving of this contract, But now you got to live up to it. So, I hope the Jags can, keep building around him, get the pieces that they need, fix the lines, do what they need to do. Because if it's anything like, moving forward, if it's anything like the game that hits me it was the Chargers against Jay Herbo. Jay Herbo is Justin Herbert, if you guys don't know that. That's another nickname. I told you I'm a nickname type of girl. Against Sunshine, where the Chargers was leading in the first half. Man, oh man, Sunshine came back in that second half and beat the Chargers. I mean, like I said before, I feel like Sunshine is not a bad quarterback. It could be the org, And like I said, he gonna live up to the contract, He's a quarterback. He was gonna get this big type of contract. The next contract we need to talk about is T. Higgins. T. Higgins just signed a franchise tender earlier this week. He's set to make $21.8 million. The Bengals and Higgins have until July 15th to agree to a long-term contract. If the two sides can't agree on a new contract, he will play the seasons on a tag. Two things from that. Number one, they ain't paid Jamar Chase yet. So, and Jamar Chase is considered a wide receiver one. So that's another reason why I feel like T. Higgins ain't get like a deal with his contract just yet. Another thing though, if he does sign a franchise tag, it just shows that the Bengals don't, I don't think the Bengals see a future with him, like, moving forward. Just because, I always feel like with football, you need to have a good wide receiver too. Just in case, the defense is locking up your wide receiver one. Your wide receiver two got to be able to produce stats. And like I said before, like the tag, I think they just feel like he may not, be here in the future. They're probably more stuck on trying to keep Jamar with Burrows. So, I'm excited to see what the Bengals do with T. Higgins, like, moving forward. Like, if they're going to do the tag or if they're going to actually draw him up a contract. But the contract that we waiting on is the Jamar Chase one. And we know Jamar Chase is going for the Justin Jefferson type of deal, A healthy Jamar Chase is up there. So I definitely feel like that's the reason why the Bengals haven't really had put too much thought into T. Higgins' contract, because they got to come up with Jamar Chase's. So we're at the end of the segment, and you know how I always end the segment with sneaker talk. Today, I'm actually wearing an antique sneaker. And what I mean by antique are these here. These right here are the LeBron 9s, Freegrams. For those of you that don't know, this sneaker right here is 13 years old. These came out December 2011. And I've kept my babies up, and, I don't play about my sneakers, y'all. And this right here, I couldn't get rid of my LeBron 9s. I got these LeBron 9s at the time that they came out, and I couldn't get rid of them. These are the LeBron 9s, and I think the 9s are actually one of his best sneakers that he ever came out with. So, yeah, this is a 13-year-old sneaker, and, they still white. They got a little discoloration. That's what I'm hiding, because I'm not going to let you see it. But overall, these is in good condition. These 9s, I'm going to keep these until they can't, until the wheels fall off. But yeah, so thanks for tuning in for another episode with me. I can't wait to give you more content.